All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back today with a Thursday episode back under full strength here at the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. You may hopefully have noticed that there's some ads back on the show. That's a very, very good sign. So glad we are back and fully functioning. We got a lot of fun stuff coming on the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. Of course, Uncultured will not be coming back in the same form, but we will be doing some more episodes just talking about music with no actual music, because obviously that is something we could not keep doing forever, and the time there has expired. But we do have Zach back with us for a second straight episode. What a nice guy, so generous with time. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you really took time out of my busy schedule.
Yeah, I mean, everyone around, everyone that we know is just like so. The one thing they are is busy. No, it's a very, very weird situation. But yeah, we are, of course, going to talk a little bit about some of the news, and it is kind of what we do, because there has been a big development in the fight for the $15 minimum wage. So the parliamentarian ruled that the provision, which would gradually increase the wage to $15 an hour, violated the strict budgetary rules that limit what can be included in the package. So the Senate's top rule enforcer said that the increase could not be included in the bill because I believe the budgetary impact would not be justified. There wouldn't be no budgetary impact, so therefore it couldn't be put in budget reconciliation, which is how the Democrats are pushing through this $1.9 trillion stimulus plan. And of course, what I'm already noticing here, and it's kind of a very deceitful play by the mainstream media, the same mainstream media that like tanked any chance of like a Bernie Sanders presidency, and has pretty much shown consistently that they are on the side of like corporate interests, is this, it's a near fatal blow. There is no possible way that you could ever have a minimum wage now. Like, it is just a very, very dishonest way, because of course it's very easy that they could just completely overrule the Senate parliamentarian here. Like, what is your read on this situation?
I still don't even understand what a Senate parliamentarian does. I'm reading on it right now.
Yeah, like the way it's like there's
the Office of the Parliamentarian has its roots in Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution. Actually, I just read the Constitution this morning. I have a Constitution right here. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, pull up that Article 1.
Article 1, Section 5.
Section 5. Do some civics right here, right now.
Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum or may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of absent members. That's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
To be in session, not all the members have to be there. They could try to force the members to be there. In such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. That's impeachment, this is the House, so they should do that to, each house, so they should do that to Marjorie Taylor Greene. What? Okay. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, accepting such parts as may, in their judgment, require secrecy, and the yeas and nays of the members of each house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. Okay. So
it's just
each
like boring, like, is there anything about the parliament? Is it the parliamentarian just like for the rules?
Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings. That is like the clause that is
how they would determine
that
the rules. That
declares the existence
in the Senate. So
the Senate and the House have separate parliamentarians who study the history of each chamber. Okay, they serve at the pleasure of the Senate, so like they could do to overrule them. Yeah.
So the decision effectively knocked out a crucial plank of Biden's plan. But again, it's just like when you read this stuff in the New York Times, it's kind of like hard to not take it like seriously. But you can overrule this like relatively easily. And
Okay. The parliamentarian answers questions from the presiding officer about the wording of motions and about precedents related to motions or actions. The parliamentarian also offers advice about interpreting standing rules about legislation. The presiding officer usually accepts interpretations issued by a parliamentarian, but the interpretations aren't binding on their own.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like you can just. I don't know how you. Do you know? Can you find out like how you overrule the parliamentarian? Like, is it a?
Yeah.
Is it a like simple majority vote? Like, you know,
This is like such a weird concept.
Like, there's a billion ways to go through this, and like
the role of the parliamentary staff is
advisory,
advisory, and the presiding officer may overrule the advice of the parliamentarian.
The presiding officer may overrule the.
So
like,
is that
advice?
Is that the vice president?
I would have to assume at least like the president.
The presiding officer of the Senate. The presiding officer of the U.S. Senate is the person who presides over the U.S. Senate, as in charge of maintaining order and decorum.
That changes. Members. That changes.
I think it's the Senate Majority Leader, right? No, President pro temporum is like it's like not an elderly member, but like it's like a senior member.
It's like the oldest guy in the majority party. Because it was Chuck Grassley and it was Pat Leahy. It's Pat Leahy now for the Democratic Party. And
so the presiding officer of the U.S. Senate is the person who presides over the U.S. Senate and is in charge with maintaining order and decorum. So wouldn't that be the vice president?
No, I think it changes because like sometimes you'll have like they do it from like they rotate. I'm pretty sure.
Wait, so like depending on the bill,
like because they'll have like in the House, I know they have.
Wait. Oh, okay. Wait. The presiding officer. This is like so interesting. Like, why don't we learn about this stuff?
Okay, so the vice president is of the United States.
Because this is not
the VP. It's the VP. Yeah.
This is not like This is like determined like by the Senate. This is not like in the Constitution. The presiding officer of the United States Senate is the person who presides over the United States Senate and is charged with maintaining order and decorum, recognizing members to speak, and interpreting the Senate's rules, practices, and proceedings. Senate presiding officer is a role, not an actual office. The actual role is performed by one of three officials. There's the Vice President of the United States, so Kamala Harris, an elected United States Senator, or in special cases, the Chief Justice. I'm assuming that's during impeachment. Outside the constitutionally mandated roles, the actual appointment of a person to do the job of presiding over the Senate as a body is governed by Rule 1 of the Standing Rules. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, like so, but pretty much the point is to like bring it back to
the Standing Rules are like that's the clause that we read, like the
House but like bring it back to like actually like important stuff.
This is important.
I mean, not really, but all you got to know is how you like tell the Senate parliamentarian.
Yeah, it's an advisor. It's an advisory role basically. So it's like
they're not elected. They don't have actual power. Like they can be overruled by people who are like actually elected.
It's like a Biden's chief of staff saying, "Please don't drone strike Syria." But he's just
he'll probably have more of an impact. He's trying to get Neera Tanden confirmed. Right
anyway,
now.
Wait. So what was her argument?
But it's kind of insane the way this is being covered, though. It's like the ruling from Elizabeth McDonough, the Senate parliamentarian, all but sealed the fate of the Democrats' push to graduate. Like, they just tell her, no thanks. Like, what is the... I mean, like, if they wanted to, again, because that's the big thing. Like, do they want to? Do they not want to? It looks like, though, Bernie Sanders has just done probably the least, like, the path of least resistance to, like, actually make an impact, which is pretty much penalizing through the tax code.
Wait, is she saying...
Bernie just, like, penalizing through the tax code, just like people who don't get $15... Like, if you don't pay your people $15, you're going to get a tax penalty.
It does not fit the complicated rules that govern budget bills in the Senate. Is she saying... Okay, because, like, the House is the only...
Yeah, because it didn't.
The House has to introduce the bill. I don't understand.
No, it's because it didn't affect the budget. Like, it has to affect the budget because it's being part of the budget reconciliation bill, and it apparently, according to her, didn't affect the budget enough. Apparently, though, she has been like barraged by people in like Bernie's orbit trying to be like, yeah, it does affect the
So,
budget, but
so the House can do it, but not her. Wait, I mean the House can do it, but not the Senate because they can't.
no, the House, like if you're passing a bill through like budget reconciliation, it has to affect the budget. Because budget reconciliation is like the process where you can only go through like it's 50 votes, and it's just pretty much been used as a way to like do it very sneakily, like or just pass whatever you want. You can't go through 50 votes, and you don't want to screw with the filibuster. You can just pass through budget reconciliation, and I'm pretty sure there's been multiple times where the Republicans have said for their own priorities that the Senate parliamentarian can just go shove it, and we're going to pass whatever we want. But again, like somehow, as soon as it's the Democrats, it's painted as like a political impossibility, like it's the end of the road. But it's like all Chuck has to do is just say, and apparently, right now it looks like it's not going to happen. They are going to respect the ruling.
No, because I think. No. Wait, it actually does make sense because, like, this lady is nonpartisan, so she just looks at the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really blaming her, but like, I think
they should change the rules.
You still have to, you still have.
I think if you just replaced her,
it's
and
advice.
then just pick somebody who would not look at the rules.
You don't even need to. You don't even need to like replace her. You could just be like, you know what? Sorry, we're not going to listen to you this time. Like that shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Apparently, there's like
as I understand it, like it's not that hard.
Senate budget rule. Wait, no, but what?
Like this is like, can we just have a 50? I'm just getting impatient for these rules. Like I honestly am coming a little bit unprepared here. Like, did the GOP ever
ruled that a plan to gradually increase the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025 does not fit the complicated rules that govern budget bills in the Senate.
Does it have like a hyperlink rules? For that?
No, this is just from NPR, but they're not. But I keep getting budget reconciliation. What is that?
Okay, so pretty much this is from March 17th, 2017.
To prevent the filibuster?
What? Yeah, so they don't have to go through the filibuster, and they don't have to go through regular order, which requires 60 votes.
Okay, so if they get 60 votes, there's no filibuster, basically. Wait, but that's not relevant to this, though. That's not what they're saying.
What do you mean?
Because that's not what they're saying. She's not saying they can't they can't vote on reconciliation. She's saying they can't vote on at all, I thought.
No, she's saying they can't put minimum wage in the package for this bill. Like, because they're putting it in with the relief bill, which they're passing through budget reconciliation. They're putting it in with the American Rescue Act.
Which rule does that break, though?
That breaks because it didn't have an effect on the budget.
So
minimum wage.
Oh, so she's saying there's like a Senate rule that says you can't you in a budget bill you can only do budget stuff. What?
Yeah, if you're using budget reconciliation. So this is actually from 2017 here. From
is in the context Byrd rule?
I'm pretty sure it is the Byrd rule.
If it does not produce a change in outlays or revenue. Okay, so she's saying it breaks the Byrd rule.
Yeah, which is like
who made these rules? I don't.
Of course, it's like a segregationist senator who's like, I'm pretty sure
ratified these rules. The Senate themselves. Why can't they just undo the rules?
But they don't even need to follow the rules, though. Like, what's the point of that?
Well, no, because they set them at themselves.
No, but like the Senate parliamentarian is an advisory role. In 2017, we've seen in the battle to fight Trump care. Like, this is an article from March 2017. All the talk of Paul Ryan, House Freedom Caucus members, Senate moderates, and even Donald Trump as key Republicans involved in the rolling disaster, the party's effort to repeal and replace Obamacare, misses one key GOP hireling who could have as much impact as any of them, Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough. She's a professional referee who, among other duties, advises the Senate leadership about what can and cannot be included in the budget reconciliation bill that's being used by Republicans this year to repeal and replace Obamacare. So again, budget reconciliation doesn't really have anything to do with the budget, but it is it's a healthcare bill, but it's kind of being put in this budget category. So the key issue is enforcement of the so-called Byrd Rule, named after late Democratic senator and procedural stickler
So it is
Robert
Byrd Rule.
Byrd. Yeah, it is the Byrd Rule, which creates a point of order
Why don't
against
they say that?
non-germane items, matters that do not directly produce fiscal consequences. Waiving that point of order requires 60 votes, which is equivalent of allowing a filibuster. Since the
Actually,
whole point,
I don't have a problem with that rule because I mean that is like a good rule I think in concept because it's like you know budget bills should be budget bills. You don't want them.
yeah, I think it just speaks to
being
the broader.
blurred.
It speaks to the broader problem of how like unbelievably impossible it is to get anything done in the Senate. Like there has to be a route where you can like just in the increasingly hyper-partisan way the Senate is now, especially with the Republicans, because it's like the Senate is like just the system of not even so much intentionally through Republican action, it's just the way like our geographic politics is shaped out electorally. Like you're going to have a more Republican Senate most of the time, and at least you're never going to have 60 votes. And with the Republican Party that's completely unified against everything the Democrats try to do.
Wait, so I'm confused though. Why they weren't going to get 60 votes anyway? So why does the I thought the Byrd Rule just has to do with like you can't use reconciliation, not you can't vote on it. So are they just saying they have to go through the filibuster process now, or that has to go in a different bill?
No, they don't know what they're probably just going to drop it from here on out. That's most likely what they're going to do. Is just say, you know what, we tried. Don't get mad at us. Like that is pretty much what they're going to do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
the Byrd Rule does not prevent the inclusion of extraneous provisions, but relies on objecting senators to remove provisions by raising procedural objections. Any senator may raise a procedural objection to a provision believing to be extraneous, which will then be ruled on by the presiding officer. In this case, I think it's Chuck Schumer, right?
Yeah.
Customarily on the advice of the Senate parliamentarian. So you're right.
Yeah. But it can be overruled though.
Is this just like Democrats being no, but it doesn't matter because the presiding officer is a Democrat. So is this just like, Democrats like want to play fair even though the Republicans constantly break the rules? Is that what that is?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to figure out is like, did they do that or were they going to do that for healthcare? But then John McCain pretty much said no. Like, was that the plan? And I can't seem to figure that out right now. I'm trying to got to pull this article back up.
The Byrd Rule defines the reconciliation change to Social Security as extraneous and therefore ineligible for reconciliation. Okay, but this doesn't say it can't be voted on though.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the Senate is so like frustratingly
so
complicated.
Confusing. What are these rules? I mean, I think it's really fun to learn about, but
yeah,
maybe.
I mean, personally,
I guess you don't.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I'm not a
American Rescue Plan. Is that the trillion? Is that the?
Yeah, that's Biden's bill.
What? I don't even understand what that is. The reconciliation like a specific? Okay, is a parliamentary procedure of the United States Congress that expedites the passage of certain budgetary legislation. So this is a strictly budgetary thing. Like it's only for budget bills.
But it's not even only for budget bills because it was used in 2017 to pass or try and pass Trump care.
Wait, the Senate filibuster effectively requires a 60-vote supermajority for the passage of most legislation. Wait, why is that true? I'm actually like so ignorant on this. I thought this filibuster just like delays it.
No,
Why do you need a supermajority?
it pretty much kills it
A
because you can just stay
filibuster
up.
is
Like, there's a difference between like a legislative filibuster and I think like a normal filibuster where you
the
just
most
kinda,
common.
you need
The
the
Senate
60
rules
votes.
permit a senator or a series to speak for as long as they wish on any topic they choose, unless 3/5. Oh my! Oh, so basically, it's like you just put in. It's an infinite pause button. Wait, I knew this, but like somehow it did not synthesize in my brain.
So
Okay, so basically, oh,
okay, so
wait,
Republicans and especially conservatives who hate anything that looks like a continuation of Obamacare are stuck defending a bill they don't much like and muttering vague promises about additional prongs of their repeal and replace initiative that fall outside of reconciliation and sound like a lot like we'll do it mañana. Indeed, even the AHCA could yet have bird rule problems. Okay, so this isn't even okay.
wait, so why can't reconciliation bills be filibustered though?
Why can't reconciliation bills be filibustered?
Yeah,
because
why can't they be filibustered?
I don't know. They just can't. It's just the rule. I mean, I don't know. Like that's why it was so appealing for the Democrats because they would have to take it through normal order where it would be filibustered, or they would have to ban and they would have to stop the filibuster.
No
but
wonder the
pretty
Senate
much like
yeah,
the Senate rules are awful. The Senate is a pretty awful place.
Oh, so that's why
but the point like the point is
that's why the majority doesn't matter. Well, it does matter a little bit.
Yeah, it matters because they have all the kind of levers of control, but there's still a lot of things that
they're handicapped
really, especially the Republicans. Like the Senate Democrats were not nearly as effective in opposition against the Republicans because I don't know, they weren't really using all these same tools, in the same way, and they also had a little bit more of a kind of put together caucus because there's things you got to worry about with the Byrd Rule and then Sinema and Manchin being like that. But the truth is there is a lot, and I think it's going to be really interesting and like really like pernicious how this narrative is going to be seeping in. Oh, there's nothing Biden could have done. It was too hard for him. Like there's no passing. Like no, there is, and it's very important to like put a marker here down on this like very firmly. Like there is something like, and there are many possible paths he could have taken to get this stuff done. And it looks like what Bernie's going to do here is a somewhat kind of like easier and again kind of sensible way to do it. But
as the chair of the Senate Budget Committee,
yeah, he's going to like tax corporations that don't pay a $15 minimum wage. Pretty much is his plan.
Let's go.
Which is good. That is for sure. Here is what some progressive groups, including Justice Democrats, Data for Progress, which is an absolutely awful organization, Sunrise Movement, and New Deal Strategies, Battleborn Collective. These are just groups saying, as today's ruling shows, pursuing legislation through reconciliation has significant limitations. Democrats still have options available to them to ensure that the minimum wage increase is included in the bill, such as overruling the parliamentarian, and they should use them. But moving forward, Democrats should reject the impulse to use reconciliation. Again, while we applaud Democrats for not allowing Republican obstructionism to hold the majority's agenda in the Senate hostage and passing much-needed legislation with 51 votes, we know there is a better way. Instead of using reconciliation and putting key progressive priorities at the mercy of the parliamentarian, Democrats should bring President Biden's popular policies like a $15 minimum wage straight to the Senate floor under regular order. If Republicans choose to block them, which they can do through the filibuster, Democrats must abolish the filibuster to pass them. This approach is morally right and will deliver bigger and better results that the American people desperately need. It's that simple. And I think that makes sense because you got that stuff out there. You're giving the Republicans, again, you're being fair. You're saying, here's a chance. Here's a very popular policy that's going to hit with every, and they should know this. I mean, they probably don't, but at least they should if they're politicians worth their salt. Like, this is a popular policy. And if you want to be the one to block it, you can. But Democrats should also be the ones to turn around and say, we're going to pass it right through. And we're going to get the credit for it. Like, if they govern in this kind of way, like, they don't have to worry about what moderates are going to think of them because they've made enough people's lives substantially better, like, in a pandemic. And that's going to go a long way because that's pretty shocking for a politician to do. Like, that hits with people.
How can the Senate even pass, like, filibuster reform, though, if they can't even vote on filibuster reform because of the filibuster?
Well, I mean, it's a simple majority to abolish the filibuster. So
yeah, but you need a supermajority to pass a bill because of the filibuster.
But you just got to abolish the filibuster before you pass a bill.
Yeah, how do you pass a bill to abolish the filibuster if the filibuster exists to filibuster the bill?
Well, you can pass a filibuster with a simple majority though. So you could do it easily. Democrats have a simple majority.
No, I'm saying Walsh. You need in the Senate to pass a bill that is in reconciliation, right? You need 60 senators to vote on it in favor of it.
I think it's actually big bills related to like federal spending. I think I don't know. There's different categories. Not everything takes 60 votes to pass in the Senate, though.
With filibuster, it does. I'm pretty sure. I mean, at least that's what I
think it's there's a filibuster for like nominees, filibuster for like budgetary. No, it's not for budgetary bills, but for like I don't know. There's all sorts of rules about it. I wish I had my AP Gov teacher here to set us straight, to give us the rules of the Senate.
Can be filibustered. The only bills that are currently not subject to the effective 60 vote requirements are those considered under the provisions of law that limit time for debating them. These limits on debate allow the Senate to hold a simple majority. Okay, but which ones, though?
Just tell us a type of rules,
okay, there's
please.
a list. There's a list. There's only like 5 of them. There's literally 5.
What is it?
It's budget reconciliation.
Yep.
So we just talked about that. Trade Promotion Authority, which that's like, what's this? Trade Act of 1974, Trade Act of 2002, Trade Preferences Extension Act of 2015. The another one is Congressional Review Act. Wait, what's Congressional Review? Okay, anyways, National Emergency Act and War Powers Resolution. Anyways, Walsh, you want to hear something cool?
What?
So, the Oreo Cookie Twitter tweeted out, "Trans people exist." Then, super cool person Elisa Booth said, "Why even take a political stance on this? This is why America is so divided. Even cookies have to be divisive." Now. Let me just say, I may not be as educated as this Lisa person, but I don't remember stating that a person exists being a political stance.
Yeah, it's like that is probably the least divisive statement you could possibly make. Like,
it's saying like white people exist.
To be quite honest though, I do find it like deeply weird when corporations like.
Oh yeah, I mean they're doing it for like the wrong reasons.
Yeah, they're doing it like the same way Amazon donates money to Black Lives Matter and is like, yeah, hey,
anyway,
we have a $15 minimum wage.
Statement. I mean, you could argue like corps get out of this, but still, I mean, how is saying trans people exist a political statement unless you're like straight up transphobe?
Yeah. I mean,
obviously they are white.
Yeah, like transphobia is like a mainstream position.
They don't even try to hide it.
Not just the Republican Party, but like
transphobia is so mainstream. It's not like people straight up think it's acceptable to just like not think transgender people are human.
But I think it's better here than it is in like some other countries because like for example in Britain you got like this toxic like TERF movement, but I think
TERFs exist here. What do you mean?
What?
TERFs exist here. You're saying that because freaking J.K. Rowling.
No, like TERF. No, like TERF is in trans. Like those are like
explicitly radical feminists. Yeah. Those exist here too.
I mean, not to the same degree though.
I am pretty sure it's a largely American movement, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. I think the good thing about like here, I feel like maybe you may disagree with this, but I feel like the like hating trans people like happens much more on the conservative side, like, which makes it kind of easier to marginalize, I guess, and to like put in with the same kind of like pit like of dark and like intolerable beliefs, like that. Like if you put it, like, it's easier to put with like conservatives. Like when I think like when you put it like with just conservatives saying it, it's like it comes off as like less palatable to more people because you have the association with like, oh yeah, they're like, yeah, and I think that's why I have a little bit more of an advantage here. Maybe like I'm sure there's some like trans people in this country that may not agree with that, but that's just my reading on the situation. So a little bit of positivity there. And we got people like Joe Biden and people in the White House here, like, who are really stepping back on just the destructive policies of just really just needlessly and just like blatantly punitive of the Trump administration. So, speaking of some politics that we do not like to see,
transgender people from the military.
Yeah, like this is just petty stuff. But yeah, we're gonna change gears here a little bit to some interesting news in regards to the world. We're gonna zoom out a little bit because there has been an airstrike again in Syria. United States has done an airstrike in Syria against Iranian-backed militias, and that has kind of a scarier escalation of some of the same kind of like trends that we saw in the beginning or the end of the Trump administration, with kind of Mike Pompeo and Bibi Netanyahu going around and like killing Iranian nuclear scientists and just kind of like poking and prodding and trying to pretty much keep an
oopsies, I committed a war crime.
Yeah. Just like pretty much trying to keep the situation as like unfriendly as possible so that the Iran deal never comes back into force. And I don't know, like it's hard to say, but like it's hard to make the case that Biden really cares about it, which is kind of
Iran deal. Dude, I don't even think Biden is conscious, bro.
Yeah, I think there's also something that we have to start taking that into account at one point or another. But like, yeah, this kind of I don't see how this kind of foreign policy is like. Yeah, foreign policy probably is the most uninspiring area of the Biden administration thus far.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to focus on foreign policy when like so much horrible shit's happening domestically, but I do agree it is the weakest area.
Yeah, I feel like Americans we fall a lot into that trap, but
foreign policy has definitely taken a backseat since like Corona and shit.
Foreign policy, like, yeah, it's big. It's small until it's big, and it's also like you don't really hear a lot about it, but like what we do abroad has such a big impact because it's like it's like a reflection of our country, and
we're the global superpower.
One of the biggest like turning like pivotal points in American history was the post-war period where we were like, we are not going to start a social democracy like for example like Great Britain and like France and all these kind of like European countries that have so much like they have like free healthcare and all the things that we kind of want as like left wingers in this country today. We're going to start like a global empire and try and become like the hegemonic force against the Soviet Union.
Whoa, hegemonic, big words.
Yeah, we're using some I don't know, just theory vocabulary today. I don't know.
Yo, you on that theory grind?
No, sir, but you are. I gotta say, Communist Manifesto. You finished the Communist Manifesto yet?
No, I'm gonna finish it tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I should read it because it's a famous book, but I don't know. I'm personally not too like. I don't know. I've never been one of those people who's like, I gotta read Marx and Engels and all that stuff.
You have to understand it to criticize it or agree with it.
Yeah,
like people criticize communism, they don't even understand what it is. They're just like criticizing like USSR totalitarianism. Yeah,
or like Barack Obama. It's like they're calling it communism.
Or like cultural Marxism, which is just like straight up mass anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it's like the Jews are making people be less racist. What?
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever read any other... I mean, Karl Marx is like a very noted anti-Semitist. So, like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's actually... Yeah, that is true, right?
That's my biggest criticism of his.
Yeah, that also is definitely... Stuff. Yeah, Europe in the kind of... it's never really been an entirely stable place for Jews, especially kind of in the lead up to the Nazi period.
There's literally no. It's never been. It's not even. I mean, you could argue it is now, like barely. There's still like shit tons of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, you can go like Eastern Europe and stuff like that. That's a big. Yeah, definitely kind of a scary situation. That is.
I mean, the Labor Party fucking straight up hates Jews. So.
I thought I talked you off of this, Zachary.
No, they literally do.
No, the UK Labour Party.
Okay, you think it's just like a random coincidence that fucking Labour Party officials resigned because of anti-Semitism in their party? How are you going to deny that?
I think you should, like, what scenarios are we talking about specifically?
We're not talking about anti-Zionism. We're talking about just, like, straight up, like, Jewish people no good.
I think you can make the claim, like, the furthest I'll go is saying that, yes, there is, like, anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, and yes, there is anti-Semitism in British society. There is anti-Semitism in British society. There's anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. There's anti-Semitism in the Conservative Party, and there's anti-Semitism everywhere. But it is absolutely ridiculous, and it's completely not based in fact to say that the Labour Party is uniquely.
Even so, he did not respond to it properly, and he never apologized.
Can we talk about? Can we talk about like specific? Which what are we talking about here? We're talking about Jeremy Corbyn's specific actions.
Yeah, he did not respond to the anti-Semitism fast enough.
I think there's been. It was pretty much like the biggest news story for the last.
He never apologized. He went on BBC. And the same dude who interviewed Ben Shapiro.
He's been literally asked about this. He's been asked about this for like.
Why didn't he apologize for anti-Semitism in the Labour Party?
What do you like? That is like you can't just say apologize for anti-Semitism. You got to be more specific.
In the Labour,
be more specific.
Okay, that's fucking bullshit. If I was the fucking
what
leader,
are the specific?
If I was the leader of a group and people in the group were anti-Semitic, I would be. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I'm Jewish, so I don't know why I would be apologizing for that. But I mean, if I was like if I led a group and people in the group were racist, I would apologize for racism.
Yeah, but can we see some specific like examples? Because to the best of my knowledge, there was like active sabotage from within. Certain parts
Tories, bro. The Tories are fighting.
No, not even from the Tories. From literally parts of the Labour Party that like large parts of the bureaucracy of the Labour Party that wanted to see Jeremy Corbyn lose, and that they were actually there to make the complaints go slow.
The right part of the Labour Party did sabotage them by not reporting it earlier, but that it still existed
and trying to slow down the complaints. But it's very easy to like talk about like without specifics. Or we're talking about. Are we talking about the Facebook post?
Guide to Labour Party anti-Semitism.
Are we talking about what the reason why Corbyn was suspended because of the reaction to the EHRC report? Because again, it stopped because the EHRC report, which is it's pretty much the UK body that is like determines racism in a legal context that they have over there. Which is, I mean, I don't.
By the way, I don't agree with that at all.
Well, then you should disagree. With the report. If you disagree,
I mean, I think it's weird that there's a government agency that just like determines racism. I think that's like sort of strange and like.
But then you like.
Okay, but it doesn't change the fact that like. It's still racist. I mean, I guess
I get So you're kind of caught up there, but it's definitely. Like, and Corbyn had a very even-handed response to the report.
We still have like the Justice
which, by the way, was
that, like,
a fair report.
Anti-Semitism and racism and shit, but that doesn't mean they like decide legally or whatever. Like, there's no.
Yeah, but are you talking about the EHRC report though, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened there was it was a pretty fair report. Corbyn acknowledged it was a fair report because pretty much what it said is like the biggest findings were the complaint process was pretty bad. And there was not enough of an effort made to address it, which Corbyn did acknowledge. But what he did kind of like stop short of saying was like he just like questioned it in any way. Like the Facebook statement that he read was
he said
completely
anyone claiming there's
reasonable.
no
And I think it
anti-Semitism in
is
the Labour Party is wrong, but he added the scale of the problem was also dramatically overstated for political reasons by our
that
opponents.
that is an
Why the fuck are you saying that?
undisputable fact
Change
up
anti-Semitism
and
with
down.
racism.
That is a
You have the
fact.
No. Change anti-Semitism with racism and you have the Republican Party. What the fuck are you talking about? You're just fucking saying that because you're not thinking about.
You're talking about two completely different political parties, though. Like,
oh no,
maybe that's true for Labour Party. Like, maybe that's true for the Republican Party, but not for the Labour Party.
I think you're being too sympathetic. Replace that with racism. Does that sound okay to you? Oh yeah, dude.
What?
We have to deny that there's
is exaggerated for political gain.
Hold on. To replace anti-Semitism with racism. Yes, to deny that there is racism in X group would be wrong, but saying that it's over exaggerated for political reasons, that sounds like you're fucking defending racism. How is that any different for anti-Semitism?
It's a complete fact.
Why the fuck is he saying that? What is his point?
Because it's been proven. That statement and statements like literally like that all across the country.
Okay, you realize
that Jeremy Corbyn was kicked out of the party, and anyone who tried to talk about it in local Labour Party meetings was suspended.
You realize that sounds like he's like defending, and like why is he like looking for excuses to like defend anti-Semitism? That's literally what that sounds like.
He's not defending anti-Semitism, but
he's literally saying, like it isn't the party, but like it's not as bad. Why is he saying that?
He's allowed to acknowledge. He's allowed to acknowledge, and again, it may not have been the most appropriate time and place, but you can't. Also, you cannot deny that it has what he's saying there is true. What he's saying is true.
I mean, that's like fucking getting 1350'd at a Black Lives Matter rally. What do you mean? You can't deny that like black people commit most crime. Like, what do you mean?
Well,
just because it's true doesn't mean it's fucking like it's a fucking straight up horrible thing to say. Like, yeah, like. There is anti-Semitism, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad. Why the fuck is he saying that?
What is horrible is that anti-Semitism and claims of anti-Semitism that are much more often than not, I'd say probably about 80-20, actually anti-Zionism, has been moved to delegitimize a completely class-based, like aspirational socialist government that that has never been seen in the Labour Party or since like the days of like Clement Attlee in the NHS of 1945, like that was driven out, and it was the project of the media, the project of the Labour Party, then project of the Conservative Party was to make sure that Jeremy Corbyn and his ilk were completely driven out of public life, and so that they would never even think about getting close to running for office again. Like that was the purpose.
I think it comes off like anti-Semitism, like apologia.
I mean, I think you got to fully understand the situation though. Like, I guess like to someone who like, hasn't, because I've been following it like very, very intensely because I was like pretty inspired by Corbyn back in 2017 and all that stuff. So, and there's been a huge back and forth with this, that pretty much the party is still not over because they've been kicking people out of the party for trying to get Corbyn back into the party.
Okay. He's campaigned for Palestinian statehood, which is not in itself anti-Semitic. I would be lying if I said that. So there is room for conflation, but that's not what this is.
Yeah, and there has been some people I think there's like 2 people under Corbyn's tenure that had to were kicked out because of or 2 or 3. Like there was this Chris Williamson, who's an MP, I believe, in the London area, and he was kicked out for what he said. And I think like 2 or maybe 1 council member, which is pretty much like the local elected official for like each like distinct district in England. And that's kind of the scale of the democratic, the scale of the process. And there's research on this. There's polls on this that say that like how effective the smear was. Like they thought the British public by the end of it was convinced that 1/3 of the entire party had been accused of anti-Semitism when the actual figure was like 0.3 of the people in the party, which again is still high, and a lot of that is kind of, I think you could argue, is a lot of just criticism of Israel first and foremost. But the scary the thing, like again, and I don't want to be someone who gets put in this situation. But a lot of this stuff is just really cynically weaponized to try and destroy like class-based politics and like, you know, anything kind of like leftist or social democratic or just plain socialist, which is what Jeremy Corbyn was. So like it's really hard to, and you see the same thing happen to Ilhan Omar, and you see the incredible damage that had in British politics. And as someone who wants to see that happen here, I am not.
But how is he not deflecting though? That was their argument. They said Jeremy Corbyn was deflecting.
Whose argument?
The Labour Party. Like are you honestly gonna say it's an if you are accused of anti-Semitism, you think an appropriate response
he was not accused of anti-Semitism though.
Oh no, his party was, and he is a representative.
And he was cleared. There was no structural anti-Semitism found in that report.
I'm not saying he's anti-Semitic.
There was no structural anti-Semitism found in that report either. Even in the Labour Party. Do
you think it's an acceptable response to say, "Oh, it's not as bad as it seems," though? Just apologize.
I would say it's a little bit I would say it's a little bit tone deaf, and it's not the perfect polite thing to say.
And you don't think the Labour Party has the right to not have their leader be fucking retarded and tone deaf?
It also happens to be true. Like this is you got to understand, the Labour Party is not one party. It is two factions. One of them is the left party, one of them is the right party, and the right is in control now and has used that to not only kick out, humiliate, and embarrass Jeremy Corbyn, who represents, and by the way, exponentially grew the size of the party, made it more of a membership, made it more of a people-based party, and he has been driven out of that party by like the former disciples of Tony Blair, who was pretty much the last kind of like neoliberal leader of the Labour Party, like longtime prime minister who like helped start the Iraq War and everything with Bush. And people, his associates, have now teamed up with the current leader, Keir Starmer, to pretty much drive Corbyn and anyone who may happen to speak up in his defense out of the party. This is the completion of the Corbyn destruction project that literally started in the moment he got in the door, the moment he got in the front door. And if anti-Semitism is a tool in their arsenal, that's fine for them.
I don't know, man.
It is, yeah. It's just like it's something that I do try and refute, because I think it's important to not let that happen here. But I don't know. I really don't think Americans are that worked up about Israel and defending the honor of, Benjamin Netanyahu and all those people. So that we may be in a little bit better shape there. But why don't we end end the show today a little bit of fun
by playing some music.
Yeah,
let's play some copyrighted music.
That's how we do it. No, Neera Tanden. She is
do you hate her or like her? I forget.
Oh yeah, Neera Tanden. I do not like her because it's kind of a funny situation. So we have this. So yeah, we have Biden gets in, and he's like, we got to throw a few stops to the progressive wing. And who can we pick? And so this is the chief of staff, Ron Klain, who apparently has been a vociferous advocate for Neera Tanden. Can we pick someone, for example, who is like a respected, maybe left-wing economist, maybe associated with Bernie Sanders, who is very, in some way, someone like left of center? No. How about we pick the literal person who spends half of her time viciously attacking Republicans on Twitter and half of her time viciously attacking Bernie Sanders supporters on Twitter? Like, I don't know. How could they not realize that? They apparently thought because she was like the leader of a think tank. By the way, think tanks are just they're big tanks full of just swamp, sludge.
That's not what a think tank is. What?
In effect, it is. It's literally a place. It's like a holding cell, so that like lobbyists and like staffers can like wait. Like Neera Tanden,
You know, there's Democratic think tanks, right?
Yeah, Center for American
there's
Progress.
think tanks for progressive policy. It's not just
shout out to the People's Policy Project by Matt Bruning. But yeah, like places like CAP are just like they're not good. Like they're just holding tanks for like awful people so they can wait to go from when a Democratic administration's out of power, they go work at CAP, and then when the administration gets back in power, they go work in the administration. Like that's how it works. That's like the revolving door of Washington. And then when they're done doing their time, they'll go to K Street and make some lobbying money. Like that's pretty much how it's always worked.
Lobbying firms aren't on K Street anymore. Fun fact. They moved. Yeah.
I don't know that. It's a little misleading there by me.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's like
K Street's kind of like synonymous.
With... I mean, hold on. What am I thinking of? Not an analogy or a metaphor. It's like what is it? Like symbolism, I guess.
Yeah, it's like synonymous with lobbying.
Oh wait, have you heard about Glenn Greenwald?
Yes, I have. Should we do a little bit of Neera Tanden, or should we go on to Glenn Greenwald? Because
I don't know anything about Neera Tanden.
Yeah, but I'll just finish with this. But so Tanden, she comes in. And her biggest thing is that, like, she's attacking Republicans. I mean, not really Bernie people, but the left wing of the party, like, clearly hates her. Bernie is like, because also here's the thing, she's kind of crazy. Like, she's
an establishment shill.
Like, not only is she just like your run of the mill establishment shill, she's like up at like 3 a.m. at night, like tweeting at people with like. You know, the equivalent of, I know they don't have this anymore, but like the egg emojis on Twitter, like egg avatars on Twitter. Like that's who she's arguing with at 3 a.m. as a CAP leader. And she's like her
a CAP leader, like capitalist.
No, she's a Center for American Progress. That's the think tank that she ran. So she's pretty much been. She's also like she's incredibly funded by like the UAE. She's taken like huge donations from like all the worst people, like Facebook, all these kind of big corporations.
United Arab Emirates is giving her money for what?
She's giving CAP money. So it's kind of like a way to like indirectly buy influence with people who are most likely going to be playing big roles in Democratic and also Republican administrations. So she's pretty much a swamp creature. To kind of use a Trump term. But yeah, her big thing has been insulting Republicans, and the Republicans kind of called her out on that in the hearing. Then Joe Manchin dropped his support. I believe Christian Sinema is undecided. Multiple Republicans have said that they will not support her, and Bernie has also refused to say if he will support her.
I mean,
and there's no way
Brett Kavanaugh got approved with like 51, so who cares?
Yeah, but I mean, this would be this would just be a like terrible someone who's just clearly blatantly corrupt. Like this is the type of person who, when the website, because Think Progress is like a website associated with the Center for American Progress think tank. Their writers were thinking about forming a union, so she shut down the site and then just opened it again a week later with all the old writers fired. She's
really a union buster.
Yeah, she is. She outed like a sexual harassment, like someone who was like, trying to accuse someone of sexual harassment. Like she said their name publicly in a staff meeting. Like she's a little psycho. So it's really been a little bit of a kind of caught with your pants down moment for the Biden administration. And
what do you mean caught with your pants down moment?
Like they Office of Management and Budget Director should be not that big of a problem to like get through, you know.
Oh.
Like, it's like you're kind of lack of preparation a little bit here for the Biden administration, but Neera Tanden should not be anywhere near like. And if they appoint someone who has pretty much the same politics, like, and I know that's what a lot of people are saying is going to happen. So like, why have the big fight? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Neera Tanden has the same politics as any like right wing person you could put in there. But the point is, it's really what it is. It's an FU. It's an FU to the left, to Bernie Sanders.
Wait, what is she trying to get approved for exactly?
Office of Management and Budget. So like, she's also in charge of granting ethics waivers, which is like kind of a.
Why hasn't Biden given up on Neera Tanden? I don't understand. Yeah, why don't they give up?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, apparently Ron Klain is still fighting hard for her, but, there's some speculation that, Friday night, no one's paying attention. They'll be like,
She
Neera,
just
forget
looks
about
like
it.
an evil person, if I'm being honest. She kind of has like resting bitch face.
And the Democratic, like, senators who have just gone to, like, ridiculous lengths to defend her on Twitter, or representatives.
I can imagine her on Twitter being like, Bernie Sanders is going to give us Trump. Bernie's gonna destroy our country. Get a vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, let's pull up some Neera Bernie tweets.
She definitely sounds like someone who would like defend like Hillary Clinton's gay marriage takes.
You want to know a good one? As Hillary Clinton was giving her speech saying in like 2006, being like, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. Guess who you can see literally sitting in the camera behind her, in the camera shot?
Who?
Neera Tanden.
Oh my god, I'm actually genius. Did I call it? Did I
You
not
literally
just call
called it. You like honestly, I for a second there, I thought you may have seen the famous clip.
I swear
before.
to God, I'm not. This is not a joke. I am 100% serious. I've seen that video, but I've never seen her in the background before. That was actually just like off the cuff.
Yep. Yeah. She is long history of working for Hillary Clinton.
I'm actually low key proud of that.
Yeah.
That's kind of hilarious that I got it that accurately. All right.
Yep. That is yeah. All right. You want to end on some Glenn Greenwald? What's he up to?
Oh, did you not see? Basically, like he's like, I don't even know what his point was. He's saying like,
was it the bi thing?
Yeah, like he's saying like there's more bi people or whatever, but like there's less transgender. There's like more transgender people, but like more lesbian people, which is like not true. Like in his own data, he literally highlighted that there was like more lesbians too, and then he like started picking fights or whatever, even though like everyone called him out for lying. Also, he's just doing like weird like transgender like people now aren't gay.
Yeah, it was only kind of a matter of time before he kind of got into that territory with the rest of the kind of cancel culture people. It's really sad because I would say there's like probably like in terms of like magnitude of important stories, there is no one who I like respect more as a journalist. Like the things he has been able to do both in America and in Brazil have been absolutely like there's no other journalist in like from 2000 on that has made a bigger impact, I think. But in terms of like the insane scandal that he helped break with the leaked documents, of course, the Edward Snowden scandal. But yeah, he's definitely better, off Twitter. That's for sure. But I feel like there's a lot of like lefties who are always going to respect him for the work he did.
I mean,
no matter how many dumb takes he did.
I mean, you can respect people for the go like full crazy shit.
He's gay himself. Like that's the
I mean, there's like a lot of like he's as like a person who has like bi friends, like they tell me like there's a lot of discrimination against bi people in the LGBT.
Yeah, because there's always like the kind of assumption.
I was like straights with like they're just trying to steal their community or whatever.
Yeah, they're like pretend like why can't you pick up your mind or make up your mind?
No, it's bad. I mean, people think they're unified. I mean, there's also like a lot of lesbians hate trans people too.
Yeah, that's probably is that part of like the TERF thing or?
It's kind of part of the TERF thing, yeah. It's a little bit. Well, it's like a lot of butch lesbians saying like, "Oh, like you don't just get to transition. Like we work so hard to like."
Yeah, it's like protecting women as a class or whatever. It's like
I don't. It's confusing and doesn't really make much sense.
It's like kind of just you just kind of want to be like, well, can we just get you guys all healthcare? Like that's kind of what I feel like. But it's like very like such a like the people who are like putting out that chart. Like I'm sorry if I try and read that. My brain can't process it. Like I'm just like
dumb. It's like
nope.
It's
I can't read that.
It's like the two like people arguing like, is there like enough like transgender representation in like the Oscars this year? And then it's like some poor guy just like
healthcare. Please.
We want healthcare, please. We want food.
Yeah. It is really like that is the kind of
ridiculousness.
Like,
that's some classic shit right there.
to see someone who's like probably like incredibly like smart guy, like great journalist, kind of just go down, get sucked down like the Twitter vortex. And I really disagree with him also when he left The Intercept, because he tried to be like, yeah, The Intercept
He like disagreed with how they edited.
Has
like,
been like taken over. He's trying to he literally said, but The Intercept has been taken over by like sycophantic Biden supporters. And like I've been following the people who who work at The Intercept for like a long time, like people like Ryan Grimm, like Aida Chavez, and like they're like really great who broke into like very important source that no one talks about, because like they're just not even that big of an outlet, even though they should be. Like they do absolutely great work, but they don't like Biden. They're very critical of the Democratic Party. Like I think they played a big role in like breaking the Tara Reid or working with the Tara Reid story. Like they're very, very like challenging of the Democratic Party and of the Republican Party. But yeah, I mean, you hope. I heard someone say like someone leaked Glenn Greenwald some documents so he has some time to get off Twitter. It's like that's how I would feel.
Please break like a good story instead of like hating
it's like
people, or I don't even know.
Like, what is the big deal if more people say they're bi? Like, is this going to have some massive societal consequences? Just like
it's called like social acceptance. It's not that they're like more bi people suddenly. It's like people don't feel ashamed.
Yeah, and like it's really becoming, like we're getting to like that kind of level of like openness, that I think a lot of people are clearly struggling to deal with. And like there's all these kind of like I didn't know that like there was so much back and forth like sniping within the LGBTQ community. And you learn something.
Oh well, they're definitely not unified. I mean, like some like they can be like bigots just like anyone else.
It's true.
Like non-binary people like don't deserve rights or whatever.
Yeah. So
I mean, just being gay. Well, like I hate to bring up this comparison, but like just in like the same way like Israelis are like doing horrible shit to the Palestinians, like even though just like Israelis and Jewish people have experienced discrimination themselves, like gay people, I guess, are just forgetting what they experienced.
Yeah, and just like I guess like the sort of kind of feeling of like we've been like under focus for so long, and we like I don't know, just like kind of a skepticism that is a little bit disheartening to see of people like that. And it's like you'd expect that of someone like Barry Weiss or one of those like Dave Rubin, Brett Weinstein, intellectual dark web type people.
Dave Rubin is actually the worst person.
Yeah, we could do another. We could use up like, all the storage. Yeah, we could literally use up all the storage time that I have on this account talking about how stupid Dave Rubin is and looking at clips. But yeah, it is literally
my favorite Dave Rubin is him just getting destroyed by Joe Rogan. Like if you're getting intellectually dominated by Joe Rogan, it's time to change your argument.
Yeah, it's time to pack it up. Like he was never good as a left winger either, though. So like that is the truth of the matter. He's
literally like he's like Uncle Tommy, I guess. I don't even know. Like he was never like a lefty.
The videos of people like when they found out that he's gay and they're conservative, like, and Ben Shapiro saying to his face like, "No, I would not go to your wedding anniversary because I think it's sinful." Yeah. And he's just like, "That's an interesting idea." It's like,
he's
oh my god.
He like picks up like a psychology textbook and like he's like, "Believe me, like I'm a psychologist." Like he was like a liberal for like 5 minutes, and he's like, "I know what the liberals think." Conservative.
The left is very dangerous and depressive.
Yeah, it's so funny because like, I don't believe he's any different than Candace Owen as like he's just a tool of the right to like be like, oh, like we can't we can't be racist or But what's even funnier is like for Candace, like no one will go to Candace Owens and be like, "Yeah, dude, like I believe in the ethno state," or at least like not like but the Ben Shapiro types. But like they don't even try to hide it with Dave. It's like they don't even respect him.
Yeah,
enough
they
to
don't have any
pretend.
respect. Yeah, they don't have any respect for him. They're just like,
They're just like, no.
The dude who was like on his own video and like reading comments was like, kind of weird that you appeared on Dave Rubin's show. Like he's gay or something like that. And then the guy who's just like, he's gay? What? And he starts like acting like he caught gay disease from Dave Rubin or something like that. It's
like
really.
He doesn't even hide. He's just like, oh yeah, like no, I would not go out to dinner with you.
Yeah, and if if Dave Rubin, like when Dave Rubin saw that, like, and if he's like had to react to that on his show, like in front of people, he'd probably be like, well, that's his right to his own opinion.
He would defend. He was like, "No, I wouldn't go out to dinner with like a black person." Dave Rubin would be like, "Oh, yeah, it's his right, man. It's his right. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to hang out with black people."
Yeah, are you gonna cancel him now for that? Like,
oh my god, the best segment ever is the I think is the when Larry King takes like full on phone call in the middle of the interview.
Classic.
And Dave's like, "Come on," and then he's just like, "Yeah, I'll get off." And then like 5 minutes later. He finally gets off the phone.
Yo, we got to do like a Dave Rubin like.
It's even funnier because that's like his personal hero.
Like, sit down, yeah, his idol. Oh my god, and just no. And there's other times where he's gone on a show and just like Larry King has just like taken like 90-year-old like still barely functioning Larry King has just been like,
no,
Larry's that's stupid.
Was
what? No, yeah, he wasn't really senile. That's true. He wasn't like Joe Biden is like more senile than he ever was. But like
rip to the king.
Yeah, he was like Dave Rubin was like, we need to open up. Come on, we like in the coronavirus lockdown. It was like, are you gonna do it? It's just like Larry King just like completely destroyed him. It was great. But yeah, all right. It is late here. Like we're going in. We started recording this podcast on a Thursday and it is now Friday. So
real gamer hours. Oh, yeah. It's already the weekend. Let's go, man.
Yeah, well, it's Friday, but it is.
No, Friday is the start of the weekend. Same, whatever. One more day. One more work period. There you go.
Yeah. All right. We will see you on Sunday.